Hi everyone, it's Mike out west here with another interview. This time it is Elza Kephart, who's the writer and director of the Canadian horror movie SLAXX, in which a pair of designer jeans go on a killing spree inside an uber-trendy fashion store. I had a great time watching the film, had a great time interviewing Elza. I hope you enjoy it as well. Okay, so I'm joined by Elza Kephart, the director and writer of SLAXX, a new horror comedy which is about to be shown at the Fantasia Film Festival. In this film, we have a young lady called Libby who has just joined her favorite clothing store as a new employee, the Canadian clothing company, which we'll get onto in a little bit. And this company has invented a new pair of jeans which will fit anyone and make them look great, but maybe at a cost, shall we say, for the time being. So we you know that there is this absurdist horror element to it, where we have these killer jeans killing people throughout the store during this this sort of night shift. So I have to ask you, how did you come up with this weird concept?
Well, it's first of all, I came up with this concept with the producer, co-producer Patricia Gomez. We've been working together for almost 20 years. Thanks. We were both on a road trip with one of the producers of our first feature, and we were just mercilessly teasing each other about words we hate. And so this other friend of ours hates the word SLAXX. So just to be really irritating, I would keep whispering in her ear, SLAXX, SLAXX, SLAXX. Just, as one would when one's on an 8-hour road trip. And it just sounded like some killer thing. It literally, that's how it came about. And so Patricia and I thought, wow, that sounds like an evil pair of pants that likes to kill people. We immediately thought it would have to have 2 X's at the end, of course. So that's really the genesis of SLAXX as a killer pant entity. And then, sure, so I watched a documentary called The True Cost, about the cost of fast fashion, so not ethical fashion, the cost of clothing companies like Zara, H&M, and just all the elements of SLAXX came together once I watched that documentary. And so, yeah, that's basically over a 20-year span, and starting from a very silly concept to something very serious. That's
I mean, there is quite a bit of, in one of these sorts of, one of the subplots of the film, there is that sort of social commentary. Funny enough, my wife is studying a business degree, and she had to do a piece about ethical companies. And her tutor basically turned around and said, actually, there's no such thing as an ethical company. There really isn't. They might pretend to be.
Not many.
But no. So you managed to come up with some interesting ways of killing people with a pair of jeans. I was just wondering if there was any others which didn't make it into the film that you'd thought up, perhaps in an earlier draft or.
We had one, yes. We had one where the jeans turned into a point, the leg, and penetrated the mouth of someone and came out the back. But that was super, super complicated. So that just never really made it into the film.
That's a shame.
Oh yeah, we had at one point in one of the earlier drafts, we called it, we thought we were gonna have diamonds on the back pocket.
Oh yeah.
And that the diamonds, the rhinestones, and the rhinestones would go down the side of the pants, and then the pants would flay someone with the rhinestones on their pants. So that was another great death. But that didn't make into the latest draft.
The Canadian clothing company itself is obviously modeled on a number of these sort of uber fashion style shops. Very, very much like Gap or somebody like that, Abercrombie and Fitch or something. And there's this sort of comment in the promo video that you show in the film, where they're talking like, oh yeah, these pants, they fit one one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a sort of an underlying thing that said, yeah, if you're like 5 pounds overweight or 5 pounds underweight, they're going to fit you. But anyone else is like hit the streets sort of thing. You know, there is that sort of element. It's kind of like an underhanded body shaming in a way. It's like, yeah, if you sort of like if you're one of our customers, you know, and our clothes fit you, then they're going to fit you. But otherwise, no, you know, they do have a sort of, it's almost as if they're sort of screening people before they come into the store. You know, it's almost.
I mean, all the posters are of magically beautiful people. All the store workers are very attractive. So no, for sure, it's all part of my social commentary that a lot of these corporations make people feel unsatisfied with themselves, be it their age, their body shape, their looks, their hair, whatever, in order to sell their products. So it's very conscious.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what comes across. And then you have a character like Craig, played by Brett Donahue as well, who he just seems so ultra right on all the time. You know, he seems to have an answer for everything as things are going on. For example, when I've forgotten the actress name, Shruti sort of turns around and goes, no, it's my sort of cultural festival, and you know, I'm listening to the music of that, and he's like, no, that doesn't happen until November or something. You know,
yeah.
he's aware enough to know this sort of thing and use it against people, as it were. So
yeah, he's a bit like a robot. That's how I pictured him, really.
Yeah, absolutely, but an ambitious robot.
Oh yeah, he's a very skilled algorithm.
And it is interesting, his reactions to what goes on in the film is like, you know, he's very much, he's got his mind, his whole life is focused on, you know, getting this area manager job, and he's not going to let anything get in the way of it. And in his, you know, he'll even allow his brain to sort of make the leap, like, well, obviously that's a suicide, we'll deal with it later. when it's clearly not, you know.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite amusing. So yeah, you also have Harold Landsgrove, is the head of CCC, who turns up very much like a sort of Steve Jobs kind of character. You know, sort of one of these people that sort of with this sort of misguided mission that he's, you know, improving the world somehow. It's
not misguided. Harold knows full well what's going on. He's using he's using that sort of super politically correct ploy to sell his stuff. No, he knows what's going on. It's a total sham. It's more it's more people like Libby that get sort of lured into the lie.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously she's the one who has the sort of, yeah, the scales dropped from her eyes sort of thing when she realizes just how misguided she's been, you know, in sort of falling for this. One of the other characters we have is Peyton Jewell, the YouTuber, you know, I forgot what the term is now. It's influencer, isn't it?
Yes,
sort of cultural influencer. Which is a huge big deal these days, of course, but you sort of capture that side of things very well, as you know. She's obviously very successful at what she's doing because she's going around, you know, she's not filming anything on her phone. She's got her own camera crew with her doing these things, you know, so it's obviously working, you know, whatever it is she's doing. And she probably does have the sort of clout that she thinks she does, which is
well, for sure. I mean, I'd never heard of influencers until I saw the documentary, The True Cost, and I couldn't believe my eye. I thought it was a joke. I mean, I knew it wasn't a joke, and that I knew I had to put a character like that in the film because it was so grotesque. And a friend of mine lives out in LA, and I visited him once, and he was writing for a fashion blog, and so we went to a couple of events to, I don't know, promote new perfume or something. And there were tons of these influencers, you know, they didn't have quite a camera crew, but they had other people filming them. And it was just unbelievable. I thought, oh no, this is exactly exactly
It's
real.
his own,
Exactly what
it's his
they're
own
doing.
sort
Like,
of
well,
cult of personality, isn't it? Basically, as it goes along.
yeah, yeah.
So this is an interesting thing. I was thinking of this afternoon. Um, the pants themselves are being marketed as a sort of pansexual, one size fits all thing. So you know, they're there for like sort of male and female. And I'm
Hmm.
just what sort of occurred to me was like, would they really get away with that? In you know, would they be able to sell something both to men and women, or would men buy a product that they know women are also wearing? If you see what I mean, you know, is that a hard sell or not these days? I really don't know the answer to that.
I think with younger people, I don't think so. I think that
Mm,
more is gender mores are changing, and something that would have been unheard of for our generation is perfectly
yeah.
fine. I mean, there have been, for I think probably since the 80s, this sort of one size fits all models. But what we're saying is that the pants are this sort of neutral
Mm,
size, and then they literally like adapt, they squish into your body size. So I actually think it would work for the younger generation
it
that
probably would.
aren't
Yeah.
so binary, you know, that don't see things as black and white, that see more of a spectrum of gender norms. So that's what we were going for, that the company's so hip, they're ahead of the curve.
That's true. Yeah, I'm sort of thinking more in terms of like dad jeans and things like
Yeah, no, SLAXX is not that
Not
jeans.
quite that. No.
No.
The logo on the SLAXX jeans, I think we need to mention because it is quite on the nose.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, was that intentional, or
Yeah.
was that sort of a happy accident that it just happens to
No.
look like the SS sort of
No.
symbol?
No.
No, it
No.
was. It's just
Absolutely.
interesting that nobody mentions it in the film. You know,
No,
there's
of
no,
course not.
yeah, because yeah,
No.
no. But
No, it
yeah,
was absolutely intentional. It came
mm,
from what I have felt since I was really young, that corporations are there to completely brainwash us,
mm,
steal our money, and leave the earth in shambles. And I listened to, or I read an article by Noam Chomsky calling it corporate totalitarianism, and I think it's absolutely right. And so I did want it to be absolutely on the nose, so people would raise that question. Wait a minute, why is she comparing this harmless pair of pants to the SS, which were a killing
mm,
machine? And because I believe corporations are there just for their own purpose. I don't know if you've seen the documentary, The Corporation, where they compare corporations to sociopaths
mm.
or psychopaths, actually. And so I wanted it to be on the nose so people would ask the question and not make it too
Yeah.
subtle, so they're like, oh, did I see that, or was that just my imagination? No.
I mean, it is sort of like it's a sort of fashion style that the people who protested in Charlottesville was it last year or the year before now? Charlotte.
Charlottesville in the US, yeah.
Yeah, in the US, yeah, with the sort of right wing, you know, sort of khaki slacks and sort of polo shirt kind of look, you know, it's that sort of thing, you know, but a bit more colourful. Basically, is what they were sort of coming across as. So yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I enjoy the way the sort of film, as I said, you know, it works on different levels. You have this absurdist sort of horror element to it, but then you have the sort of the workplace satire
Mm-hmm.
as well, and then sort of from the middle of the film, we get this very emotional sort of pathos coming into it, and it sort of throws into stark relief who the victims are in
Yeah.
the film without sort of like going into too much detail. But it really does, you know, the moment when sort of the message appears on the wall
Mm-hmm.
and the way the characters react to it, I thought it was absolutely brilliant, and it does sort of it changes the mood of the film completely, you
Yeah.
know, and it adds sort of an extra sort of level of sort of seriousness to it, to what
Mm-hmm.
you're watching. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool actually.
Thanks. That was really hard to pull off. Going from like sort of absurd comedy and bringing that pathos in, and
Mm,
especially having this conversation. Well, I won't reveal too much, but intersposed in a screen.
mm,
But we knew that if SLAXX was going to hit deeper than just the surface sort of haha horror comedy, we had to bring in that pathos, and I'm glad in editing it was extremely difficult to find that balance, but thanks to our very talented editor, I'm glad we were able to hit it.
The other thing I just want to mention as well is your end credit sequence. You actually put in a few behind the scenes elements to sort of show some of the effects work, which I thought was really cool as well. Because I'm watching the film going, how are they getting this done? You know, how exactly, especially the dance bit, the dance routine. I'm thinking, how exactly are they doing it? And you should, fair play, you show it in the credits, and it looks great, the effects work. And also I can't remember the name of the character, the first person who gets killed basically and sort of shoved in the cupboard.
Gemma.
Yeah, Gemma. And, the fact that it's actually the actress in there, it was just brilliant as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was like, I was kind of expecting a dummy or something, some sort of prosthetic. So I know it's just got her to play dead for a bit. But even the box.
Oh no, that's a total spoiler. Oops.
For the box.
Well, we sort of know what's going to happen.
Yeah, but but the way you actually did that effect, I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's really lo-fi. A lot of it,
exactly. But it's so effective. I thought it was really good. Elza, thank you very much for your time this evening. I hope everything goes well. I look forward to getting this interview edited, getting the film reviewed, and getting that posted for you as well.
Great. Thanks so much for having me.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.